This page nearly burned. The edges are gone. What survives on it is a word English can no longer say. Line 535 of Beowulf. A man is boasting about a swimming match against his friend. The first word of that boast is not we, it is a different word, and it means we too. And when the sea pulls the two of them apart, the poem reaches for another word kept only for them. The Great Old English Dictionary glosses one of these words with the Latin for you too, not you, you too. English once had pronouns reserved for exactly two people, not one, not three or more, two and only two. There were 6 of them, every single one is gone, and nobody watching this learned them at school. The manuscript itself nearly went the same way. Fire took the library in 1731 and chewed the edges. The page survived, the words on it did not. So here's the question, where did those 6 words go? Here they are, all 6. Take 20 seconds because you are looking at the entire missing set. 1 row for the speaker and 1 other person. 1 row for a listener and 1 other person. That is everything. There was never a 3rd row. Old English had no word for those 2 over there, which tells you something. The system only ever covered people inside the conversation. You and me, you and him, the close pairings. Think about what that does to a sentence. We're going in Old English could be pinned to precisely 2 of us. Modern English cannot do it. We too is a phrase you build, not a word you inherit. Both of us, just us. So what happened? No invasion took them. No decree banned them. No writer complained that they were slipping away. They were used a little less than less again by people who never noticed they were dropping anything. That is how a language loses a distinction, not with a bang, with a shrug, one conversation at a time. And the duel was not the only thing English shrugged off. The next one will look stranger to you. Old English had 3 grammatical genders, masculine, feminine, neuter, stuck to nouns whether the noun was alive or not. You know this from other languages. A table is feminine here and masculine there, and no speaker can tell you why. English had it too, and the assignments will look wrong to you. Start with the ordinary word for woman. The word for maiden, for girl, was also neuter. Grammatically it sat in the same box as an object. And the longer word for woman, the one that our modern word came from directly, was grammatically masculine. The dictionary notes that speakers were already patching this, putting a feminine word in front of a masculine noun. Which is what people do when the grammar stops matching the world. They fix it locally until the system gives up. By the middle of English history, all 3 genders were gone. Nouns became things you point at, not things you sort. That sounds like a loss, and it is, but this is the one loss that makes English perfectly normal. Count the world's languages and most of them carry no grammatical gender either. English simply joined the majority. So hold that thought. Losing gender is ordinary. The next thing English lost is not ordinary at all. Say this out loud the day before yesterday, 5 words. Old English did the whole job in 1. The Latin gloss written beside it in the dictionary says the same thing. 2 days back counted from today. A single word for a single day, not a phrase you assemble every time you need it. A word. Plenty of languages still have one. Speakers reach for it the way you reached for yesterday without thinking at all. Now here comes the part that ruins the tidy version, and almost everyone telling this story gets it wrong. You would expect a matching word for the day after tomorrow. Symmetry. 1 step backward, 1 step forward. Search the dictionary for it and there is nothing, no head word. Old English never had that word in the first place. So English did not lose a matching pair, it lost 1/2 of something that was already lopsided. Which is the useful lesson here. The real history is always messier than the version that fits in 1 sentence. And nowhere is it messier than with the pronoun you use every day without knowing what it replaced. You, 1 word, it covers your best friend, your boss, a stranger on a train, and a room of 200 people. Almost no other big language does that. English used to be normal here, then it made a choice. There were 2 words, and which one you picked told everyone in earshot what you thought of the person opposite. You started as the plural, then became the polite singular, the safe form for anyone standing above you. And safe wins. Every speaker hedged upward, every generation until the polite form had eaten the ordinary one. By the 1600s that was not neutral anymore. It was loaded, intimate or insulting, and rarely in between. Say that to the wrong man in the street and you're not being casual. You are calling him your inferior. By the middle of the 1700s it was finished. You was the only normal spoken form left standing. Meanwhile the rest of the world kept the distinction, hound them up, and it runs to roughly 1/3 of languages. English threw away a tool 1/3 of humanity still uses every day. Almost nobody objected to almost. 1 group refused. To them, a polite plural for the rich man and a bare singular for the poor one was a lie. So they said thou to everybody, to magistrates, to landowners, to their own fathers, on principle out loud in public. Their founder wrote that he was required to thee and thou all men and women. with no respect to rich or poor. In 1660 they printed an entire book to prove the point, running through some 30 languages. Every one of them, the book argued, keeps one person and many people apart. Only English had gone soft. It even claimed the polite you had come from the Pope. That tells you how large this felt from the inside. One young Quaker wrote down exactly what it cost him. He came home and said thou to his own father. His father snatched the hat off his head, then struck him about the head, over a pronoun, inside his own house. And that was family, not a magistrate. Refusing the polite form made you visible to every man above you. None of it worked. The language went where it was already going. Thou survived in dialect, in prayer and poetry. Here is the proof the loss actually hurt. English speakers have spent 4 centuries building a replacement. Because you cannot tell one person from a crowd, and speakers need to, so they invent constantly. A dialect survey asked 10,764 Americans what they say to 2 or more people. A quarter of them just said you and lived with the ambiguity, exactly as the standard language tells them to. 1 in 7 said you all, which is the neatest repair anybody has managed, and it stays stubbornly regional. Then the long tail, youse, yinz, you all, you lot, different towns, same hole, different patch. 400 years of invention and still no winner. Nobody agreed, because nobody was organizing it. That is the tell. When a language keeps growing the same limb back in 5 different shapes, that limb was doing a job. Scholars are careful here, so I will be too. There is no pinned academic statement that these forms consciously fill the gap. The project that catalogs American dialect grammar has no entry for any of them, treated as a pattern, not a proof. But the pattern is hard to ignore. Region after region independently reached for something the old grammar handed over free. Now for the part of this story that almost everybody gets wrong, including people who really should know better. Old English did not just say uncle, it said father's brother or mother's brother. 2 different words, no overlap at all. The mother's brother had a word entirely of his own. Hearing it, you knew instantly which side of the family. Aunts as well. Father's sister here, mother's sister there. 4 separate words where modern English now offers only 2. Today you say uncle, you say aunt, and then you explain which side every single time for the rest of your life. The story everybody tells is simple. French arrived, handed over uncle and aunt, and flattened the old system. It is a good story. Norman conquest, borrowed word, distinction crushed. It is also wrong, and here is how we know. Look north. In Scots, the native word for uncle kept going for centuries after French was fully at home in English. It appears in Barber's great poem in 1375, and it is still being recorded in 1631. But look at how the dictionary defines it by then. Not mother's brother, just an uncle. The meaning had gone. The word survived. The distinction inside it died first, while the native word was still in everybody's mouth. So French did not steal anything. Speakers stopped caring which brother it was, and the meaning drained out on its own. The dictionaries even hedged the original. One entry says chiefly the mother's side, another word doubles as cousin. And English never split grandparents by side at all. That finely tuned family tree was only ever tuned in one corner. Blame is comfortable, and blame is wrong here. Nobody stole these words. English speakers simply put them down. English has one of the largest word lists on earth. That is true, and it is the wrong thing to be measuring. Size of vocabulary and precision of grammar are 2 separate axes. English went up on one and down on the other. Line English up against the world's languages on the things grammar can actually force a speaker to say. Nearly a third mark a we that includes you against a we that shuts you out. English cannot tell them apart. Most sampled languages make the speaker mark how they know it, so I'd heard it guessing. English adds a whole phrase. Over a third use classifiers, a required word sitting between the number and the noun. English has none of that. None of this is failure. It is what English is, but it kills the idea that a long list means a precise language. The biggest family word database ever built holds over 200,000 kinship words from more than 1,000 languages. Against that, English looks thin in places, and nobody has even counted how many languages split elder from younger siblings. So those 6 missing pronouns are not a curiosity. They are the clearest sign a language can grow and get blunder at once. Where did they go? Nowhere. Dramatic. Speakers stopped using them, and nobody alive noticed the day it finished. So which distinction are you dropping right now, quietly, that your great-grandchildren will need 5 words to explain?